Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today for another live event from Phoenix Contact. My name is Zachary Stank. I am the product manager for all of our control, safety, and I/O products. And joining me today is Brian Nebzadowski. He's our product marketing specialist for industry solutions. He'll be going over and talking about leveraging PoE technology with a smart camera box. Before we get started today, I just want to remind everyone that this is a one-way conversation. So you will not be able to interact through any type of audio or video, but there is a Q&A box if you need to ask questions at any time. We will try to answer them as we go. There is a 20-second delay between our presenting and you receiving. So if you do ask a question and we don't answer it right away, we will be answering the questions we didn't get to at the end, but we'll try to cover everything we can as it comes up. And obviously you found us through phoenixcontact.com/US-webinars. Just a reminder that there are new webinars up for the next few months. We've also made some changes to the website so that after a webinar is completed, the link to view the replay goes live so that you can view any of our webinars that have happened in the past, and you can view them right through that website with the link. So without further ado, I want to say thank you to Brian and welcome, Brian. The stage is yours.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining me today. I really enjoy talking about this new product that we have and more of also the application space that it serves in. So today I'm just going to go through starting with the agenda here. Let's see here. We're going to first start with the general PoE overview, just to get an idea of the fundamentals, the background, and some of the new standards that are out that really are helping drive PoE technology today. Next, we'll get into more of a product introduction. I have a really nice video that our company's put together, really cool exploded view to really see all the different features that the box can provide. Next, we'll go into some application areas, really kind of get an idea of an example project to see where the box really fits in. Then we'll go into some of the installation features it has. This is where the main benefit of the box lies. And next, we'll go into some of the nice configuration features it has, go through a little bit of the product portfolio. And then again, any of the questions that we might not be able to answer throughout the presentation, we'll answer at the end. All right, getting into a little bit of what is PoE. So to start, PoE stands for Power over Ethernet. And really there's two types of terminology to know. It's quite simple that a PoE really is power and data all on one cable. And it's connected between a PSE or a power sourcing equipment and a PD, which is a power device. So the power source equipment, here we have an example of a PoE switch. This could be similar to the camera box and is connecting any type of devices such as a camera, maybe it's an IP phone, maybe IP lighting, or PoE lighting as an example. So all that really means is we're saving a lot of installation and time with having all of that connection just done with one cable. So getting into a little bit of the PoE standards and how it's evolved over the past years. First starting off, the biggest benefit was connecting IP phones. So think of an office, all of the phones connected can be ran with just one cable. There didn't have to be a power cable as well connected to the phone. And over time now, the most recent being IEEE 802.3bt, now is all the way up to 60 and 90 watt power ratings. So really all that means is it allows us to use more connected devices, higher power cameras, monitors even. So all of these different devices allow for more connections out and more of the industry evolving. So from a technology standpoint, with the latest standard in IEEE, again, like I was saying, you could support extended power up to 90 watts. And really what this means, and from a technology perspective, let's say there's a maximum 100-meter cable for Ethernet. There's a significant power drop over that cable. Well, with the PSC or that power sourcing equipment, now if it has the standard, is able to calculate that power drop and supply an extended power so that that device can still operate functionally. And then also from a data perspective, can support up to 10 gigabit per second transfer rate. So a lot of cameras now, they're really demanding high quality feeds, real-time events, and a lot of those different features require a lot more data. Think of areas like ITS or intelligent transportation systems, intersections, all different type of data that they're trying to pull. This can really help with. Another feature is called MPS, or short maintained power signature. All that really is a fancy term for it can determine when the camera or the PD device should be basically in an idle mode. So if there is no data transfer happening for a certain amount of time, it will actually go into an idle mode and help with that efficiency in two parts. One with power, of course, but also with bandwidth. Since cameras can handle a good bit of bandwidth, if it's not being utilized, then it can be turned off, or turned off in a sense of being in an idle mode. Last, there's also a feature called auto class. So any type of PD device that might be, let's say it's a different standard than the latest 802.3bt, it auto negotiates what that type of device is. So you don't have to manually configure on the switch side or the PoE switch what you're connecting. It's very plug and play on what you're connecting into the switch. All right, now that I have a nice video, and I'll hopefully have Zach confirm that the audio is working, but I really want to show a nice video from the smart camera box. It really goes through all the different features that from a nice overview level. And here we go. Hopefully it works for you guys.
Looks like we're missing sound, so why don't you stop real quick, Brian, and we can reshare that.
I'm sorry, Zach, did you say it was working?
No, I'm sorry. It looks like we're missing sound on it. Can you try and reshare it again?
Yeah, let me try it again here. Here. Can you hear it now?
No, still no sound. Why don't you try resharing it again and enabling the sound?
Okay. All right. Let's do this. All right, let's see. Technical difficulties. All right, let's see if this works now.
The smart camera box is an all-in-one device for connecting your surveillance camera. It is more compact than conventional control box solutions and enables time savings during planning, procurement, and installation. Thanks to the split seals of the cable glands, you can even connect pre-assembled cables and have a waterproof and dustproof connection. By means of the integrated splice cassette, fiber optics can be connected easily and reliably. The Power over Ethernet switch can power as many as 4 cameras and offers comprehensive management and diagnostic functions. The efficient power supply allows for the reliable and continuous use of cameras with high power requirements, even in extreme ambient conditions. The replaceable surge protection ensures high system availability. In case of an incident, an alarm message is sent. The universal assembly adapter facilitates installation thanks to its simple latching mechanism. The robust housing with climate membrane meets all outdoor installation requirements. In the event of attempted sabotage, the integrated door monitoring system issues an alarm via Ethernet.
All right. I hope that video kind of summed up for you guys. Now we're kind of go through a little more in-depth overview, kind of understand the installation, configuration, and wrap up with what we actually have, what we offer from a variant perspective. So from an overview, I don't want to go through all the specifications, but here's a good list of them here. So from an application perspective, it's really good from an outdoor use. Let's say if typically if you're in a building, you have that IT infrastructure already in place. You know, this is really meant for anything, maybe like in a parking lot, along a fence, anywhere that's a little bit more remote and needs to be installed outside is where this box fits well. So there is an IP65, IP67 rating. There is an IK10 rating. We'll get into that a little bit, but for a vandal proof, it's really secure, even though it is polycarbonate. There's a power supply similar to any line voltage available for 100 to 240, a nice temperature range. So it's really built for an outdoor perspective. Again, you can connect up to 4 cameras, and then there's uplinks for either copper, fiber, and again, it supports the latest IEEE standard. All right, kind of getting into a little bit of an application example. Here's a nice project that was done in Germany. This is what their original camera systems that they had all around the perimeter. And again, when you think of it without the smart camera box, you're going to have to design each of those boxes. So when you think of what kind of goes into that, you're going to have to think of what kind of switches you need, the different power supplies, UPS. So all of those different products and different type of cable entry systems you might need. This is where you could really benefit from using the smart camera box, because from one single part number, you have all of those different features. From a design perspective, it's a lot less of a hassle and so forth. So kind of backing up, this is where it's really best utilized is from a perimeter security standpoint. So the boxes can be daisy chained all along the fence, and basically anywhere where there's more of a remote area that cannot really be accessed well from traditional IT standpoint. So this is really good outline of kind of an example where the box fits well. Other areas, like I said earlier, I think would be parking lots, any type of transit areas, any infrastructure areas that would be tough to be able to have, a typical IT infrastructure.
Hey, Brian, do you have time for one question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we have a question and it's asking, does the camera box come with a camera integrated? And if it does Phoenix Contact have a selection of cameras to choose from?
Good question. That's a great question. So Phoenix Contact, our main purpose is the infrastructure, the network infrastructure. So we do not carry cameras. However, the box, it does not matter what camera is. That's the best thing about it. There's no requirement on what the camera actually needs to be, as long as it meets the different PoE requirements and things like that. For example, anything from a PTZ camera, any type of camera on the market can be fit. All right. All right, so kind of getting into, again, this is just another spin-off of the application example. Again, it could be connected in the local, it could be connected to a local system. I mean, if you wanted to have just a recording device that stands alone, you could do that as well. Or you could have an uplink port that is run back to a video server at the main building. So it's very flexible for being a standard part number or product per se. Again, it can connect up to 4 cameras, 2 to 4 cameras. We'll get into the variants later, but this is also a nice example of how they're connected. All right, so getting into how this actually gets installed and some of the nice features that are available. So a mounting adapter is included with the product. It could either have a pole, there's a mounting pole accessory you could get as well. But from a flat mount, it basically just in the video kind of showed how it just kind of clicks on. So from an installation, there's no reason to have to go into the box, modify any type of brackets or anything like that. There's nothing to deal with having to use different type of unistrut or anything like that. So that also saves a little bit on the installation time as well. And then from a cable entry perspective, all of the cable glands can handle pre-assembled patch cable. So there's no need to have to splice any cable, which really saves time. I know punching cable can be very difficult for patch panels. So this is a really nice feature when all you have to do is just run a cable out to the box or up to the camera, and it really saves from an installation feature as well. Again, there's all of those cables are all I can see on the bottom left here. All of those glands are accepted for the power to the box itself, all of the different connections for the cameras, and then all the way on the right, there's 2 for the different uplink ports that are available. And then for over voltage protection, the box comes already with our valve trap pluggable surge protection. So since we have this included with and power is being powered to the device, we actually have a limited lifetime warranty on this. So since it's designed, that's a nice added value to the product. A nice feature too is that it's a pass-through surge as well. So anything that maybe there's a light pole above that needs to be powered, this can be run in series where power can pass through here, power the device, and then power it out to anything downline. From a fiber perspective, on all of the boxes, there is a fiber cassette tray, which really is helpful from making sure fiber is installed correctly when it comes to the bend radius, making sure it doesn't get damaged, things like that. So here's another nice little feature that they have. Also, where correctly the zip ties need to go. So everything of that is included as well. This is probably the biggest feature from a flexibility perspective with the camera box. There's an additional DIN rail space that is included. So anything that needs to be added, maybe a UPS, a small UPS, maybe if you wanted to do wireless backhaul, maybe via cellular, you could put a cellular modem in there. And here you can see the dimensions here. So it has a little bit of room to have maybe a couple devices added. The DIN rail can be rotated 45 degrees. You can see some of the studs in the box there that allow you to configure how you need to mount it. And then there is on the right, you can see here underneath, there is a 24-volt DC output. So there's no need for a low voltage power supply included. So it's already built into the box. All it needs to be and it's also switchable with the web-based management of the device. So if you wanted to disable it or enable it or anything even remotely, that could be done as well. All right, kind of since we got a little bit of more of a installation overview, now we're going to get into how the configuration works and what kind of different features are available from a managed switch perspective. So the camera box itself, the main feature that it is a PoE managed switch. So it has all the features from redundancy, VLANs, any multicast filtering that's needed. And again, from the new standard, it can power up to 90 watts per connection. So the total budget, I know we didn't talk about much about the PoE budget to begin with, but the total power budget is something where you can't exceed, but it's also monitored by the device. So if, let's say, you add a device that might be exceeding the total power of the box, you'll be notified. But so we have a 165 watt power budget. So that's good for maybe 190 watt high power camera. And then typically if you have something a little bit less for maybe low traffic areas that you're looking to secure, you could have a 30 watt camera or maybe a 60 watt camera. Again, from a configuration perspective, there's web-based management. So you just have to type in the IP of the switch into a browser. It's all configured on the pages, and we'll kind of get an example of what that looks like. We do have a network manager tool. So if you have multiple boxes out in the field, we do have a suite that allows you to configure these all in one suite. And then lastly, for more of your typical IT route of configuring, we do have a CLI area that can help configure the devices. All right, kind of from an ease of use perspective, I wanted to touch on this configuration method. We do have a smart mode feature of the box where when you're first starting up and just trying to get connected with your IP address, there's a smart mode feature with using just a simple push button to configure the IP. So there's no need to use a IP assign tool or anything like that. It could just be done right on the device. So it's real simple from a troubleshooting perspective, just to start up with. Also, there's some other push button methods you could use, like resetting the device, making a DHCP connection, things like that. Also, to touch base, there is an unmanaged mode. So that's something where maybe you have a very local system. All you want to do is connect in a few cameras. You know where the physical connection is to the video server, and it's all closed. If you're doing a closed system, that's a really nice feature. It really saves time on a configuration side. All right, kind of getting into a little bit of the web-based pages here. I know earlier I was talking about how auto class works with the new IEEE standard. Here's kind of an example of where that can be used. You can see here on port mode through the web page here, it's all auto negotiated. You could also force it. So there's no determining what class that is. That's all determined by the box. Also, there's features for Snmp Traps. So this can be any type of diagnostics that you would like to have, either if it's on the ports itself for a camera, if you want to do a power cycle, understand what type of power draws occurring on that camera. Also, there's a PoE watchdog feature. So if a certain event doesn't happen, there might be an auto cycle, like a quick reset that could be done. So those different features are available as well. And then lastly, there is for physical security, when the box is finally installed, when you have it out in the field, there's one thing that you have to worry about is just physical security. Can someone tamper with the box? So there is an optical sensor included. So anytime the door is open, an alarm can be sent. That could be either, via email alert saying, hey, the door's been open. So that's just a nice added feature to think of. And again, it could be just because maybe a technician went in there on accident and people want to know, hey, when was this last opened? What changes were made, etc. So that's a nice feature to have as well. And then to really make sure that the box is not tampered with at all, we do have a door lock accessory. It's a lock bar that goes across the front of the box with a padlock area. So there's, at that point, hopefully, no one's really trying to break into your box that's padlocked. But it's a nice feature, really make sure that absolutely no one's getting into the box unless they have that key. All right, kind of getting into, and then lastly, going into the offerings. Here's kind of an example of what we have. I know I mentioned there's either, you could connect 2 or 4 cameras. Also from an uplink side, if you're connecting back, depending on the distance of where the box is located, there's either fiber or Ethernet copper available for the uplink ports. So that's the overall offering that we have. There are some accessories such as the pole clamps, SFP modules, things like that. And the great thing is they're all listed underneath our accessories with these products. And with that, I'd like to thank you guys for really joining to give me to help me give an overview to all of you for the smart camera box. If you want to learn more, we don't just have the smart camera box for video monitoring. We have just regular PoE switches, other infrastructure that can be utilized. So you could go to phoenixcontact.com/video monitoring to kind of learn a little bit more.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. Great presentation. We have a couple questions here.
Okay.
First one is regarding power. So you were going over this a bit, and I believe this question is related to the power budget and what type of power budget is in the smart camera box.
Sure. Yeah, so the power budget, the total power budget is 165 watts. So that's, I would say that's pretty substantial when it comes to the new feature of having a 90 watt availability. So anything basically you think of, as long as you don't exceed that, depending on what devices you have connected, you're fine. The only thing to really make sure of, if you are powering any devices on that additional DIN rail, there is the 24 volt output uses 10 watts of that budget. So if you are powering any additional devices, your total PoE budget is down to 155 watts.
All right, thank you, Brian. It looks like we just got one more in here. Does Phoenix Contact do custom assemblies with this box, or is it possible to get other products included in the box?
Good question. So we do have a group. We have a solutions group that we can work where if you want if you want maybe a UPS already assembled on the rail, that's something that we could definitely look into. We've definitely done that for customers. And typically why this falls under my responsibility is that we've done different cabinet builds prior. So that is also a value add that can be available.
All right, Brian, I don't see any other questions here. It doesn't mean that there aren't any. How do people get in contact with you if they have further questions on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So you could get in contact with me. I could drop, if you want to drop my contact information in the Q&A, that would be great. I could do that as well myself if you'd like.
I got it. Give me a second here.
Oh, okay, perfect.
You prefer email, or do you want all of your contact information?
Email's good. Yep.
All right. It should be there for everybody now.
Perfect.
All right. Any other closing comments there, Brian?
I don't think so. I hope everyone kind of enjoyed the presentation, and again, don't hesitate to reach out to me personally if you have anything that you think of down the road, or if you're watching a rerun, for anyone that might be watching this down the road. If you have any questions, you can most certainly reach out to me.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you, everybody in attendance today, watching live here, asking questions, and everybody that's caught the replay of this as well. Remember, you can see more of these videos on demand at phoenixcontact.com/us-webinars. That is also linked in the Q&A as well. So you can directly click on that and go right to that website. You can register for upcoming webinar content, so you can view it live and watch new content as it comes out. And thank you to everybody, and we hope you have a safe day, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks, everyone.